It's difficult. I mean, working with friends. Reece jumped in maybe 9 months ago now to fill a staff up. Like a member of staff left, who was fantastic, and Reece kind of messaged me and said, "Oh, would I be able to maybe work for you?" And I've got the message still. I initially said, "Absolutely not. I don't work with friends because I can be a bit of a. I like things doing a certain way, and if they're not done that way, I get annoyed by it, and I can stew on it, and I just had to fall out with people that I work." With, and I didn't want to do that with Reece. And Reece said, "Look, I know what you're like. I've known you for years. I think it'll be fine." I mean, he's super laid back and easygoing, and it works. It works pretty well. It's very rare that we have to do the whole employer-employee relationship thing. He knows what needs doing, and he's very passionate about the brand and what we do anyway. So, I could go away for a week and leave him to it, and nothing would catch fire.
Yeah, I remember. I can't remember what I saw this on, but it was recent. I think you might have posted it recently. But did Reece say that when he met you, he thought you were an arsehole?
Yes. Yeah. So Reece is obviously powerlift till I die. Right. I used to run Wales Strongest Man for telly a few times, way back 2012, 2013. I've been involved in strongman for a long time. I've never been directly involved in powerlifting. And we were just running a little push and pull competition at a local gym. And Reece said something about... I'd never met him, but I was running... It was just a fun competition, but it was quite busy. I was the only one really running it. And Reece said something about hitching or why are you doing something a certain way? And I was busy, and I was like, because that's how we're doing it. And I don't even remember the conversation. Apparently that's what I said. And he didn't like it. But I don't remember that. I then met him at another gym in Telford a little while later. And I thought he was lovely.
Reece,
he obviously remembers that more than I do.
Before you sit down, mate, can you just check on my phone that it is recording? Because I can't see the screen.
Yes, it is recording.
Great success.
Okay, make yourself comfy. Well,
we were just talking about working with friends.
What are you guys talking about?
Okay, let me just pop an intro in before we carry on. Welcome to episode number 25 of British Strength Radio with Reece Fullwood and Richard Foster of Strom Sports Nutrition.
That was good.
It was good, and I completely forgot what I was going to say. But what I was going to say was, if you would like to support the generation of future episodes of this podcast, head over to BritishStrengthMagazine.com and subscribe to British Strength Magazine. We have the brightest minds in the UK strength sports industry writing for the magazine and interviews with the UK's strongest athletes. And we'll carry on our conversation now. So we're talking about working with friends because, of course, Reece, you work here at Strom Nutrition, and Rick, you own it.
Yeah.
And we're talking about when you two met. So, Reece, we were talking about when you two met.
Right, it's difficult for me to visualise it because I don't actually remember meeting Reece because he wasn't so much on my radar because I was fucking busy and he took offence to something I don't even remember saying.
Yeah, you basically said that I was shit at pressing, which wasn't strictly false. But he was like,
that's not even what Rick just said, by the way.
I thought you questioned the way we were running the push and pull comp or something, and I was like, yeah, I'm busy.
No, not at all. You was like, I could overhead 180. That's nothing. Because I was on about the weights being too heavy in the competition at the time. And then you just like swung your invisible penis.
Oh, no, it was, I've overheaded 150.
Oh, you said 180?
No, I didn't say 180.
Well, we all know you like to inflate.
Not a chance. I never. 150 kilos is the most I've ever had.
Anyway,
the point is that I'm a terrible strongman, and I could do the weight on the day, was the point. And I stand by that. It's not my fault they're all dog shit.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
So you're still falling out.
Anyway, the point is I don't even remember that conversation because I was busy.
It's fine.
So yeah, but I was saying you've worked here for 9 months now?
Yes, since July, yeah.
And as I was saying before, this is all difficult because we did it while you were off gallivanting. I initially said to you that I didn't want to employ a friend, but I glad I did.
I'm glad too.
Gay.
Yep.
But no, it's cool, and I think the main thing with it, because we do train here as well, is that when it's 5 o'clock and work finishes, it's training, and that's completely separate from work, and it's important to keep that separate.
Well, definitely, we both keep things, ticking over and push out what we need to in the day.
So, on that subject, I messaged you, Reece. Well, I didn't message when we were messaging. Is it a relaxed working environment? Because this place looks pretty fun. And I remember when I messaged you, I said, "Oh, does it actually make you do stuff?" Like, oh, that sucks.
It depends on my mood, I suppose.
Well, yeah, it very much depends on his mood. But it's not only that. I mean, we have moments when it's quieter.
We try to play it by ear. You know,
Yeah.
there's no point in being really, really strict and militaristic on days where it doesn't need to be. As a general rule, towards the end of the month, it's a bit more laid back. And towards the start of the month, there are days when, I mean, there's been a couple of days this month where I don't think you've had a chance to stop and eat.
No, exactly. Yeah, I've gone like 8 hours without meals, and now look at me. I'm
Skinny.
barely even here. Alex is like 3 times my size.
So you're still 130 though, right?
Yeah.
So that makes me 390 kilos if I'm 3 times your size.
You big as fuck.
So no, I think fundamentally, as long as everything's done, it doesn't particularly matter in what manner it's done. And I try not to be a dick as a boss. I do my best.
No, man, it's all good. We get done what we need to get done, and business is growing. It's expanding. So
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, what we do is something that we enjoy. If I just wanted to make money, I should probably go and sell houses or cars or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be a passion project. And Reece is passionate about what we do as well. And the longer he's here, the more customers will directly deal with Reece and not with myself, which is great. That's the whole point of having someone like Reece who knows exactly what stuff does inside and out, you know?
Definitely, and I think we'll move on to the business side of things a bit more later, and the brand and you know how you got this thing started a little bit later. So just to give a little bit of background on you, Rick, because I think anyone who's listened or watched Reece's episode got somewhat of a background on him. You said you've overheaded 150. You came from bodybuilding and strongman.
So I
right?
initially started strongman with Ben Brunning, and I found out in 2012 that I've got degenerative disc syndrome, which my mum has and my auntie has, and my sister, it turns out, now has. And I was told categorically that if I carried on training, I'd be in a wheelchair, and even if I didn't carry on training, I'd be in a wheelchair by the time I was 30. I'm 32 now. I'm not in a wheelchair. I'm actually probably not far off the numbers I was hitting when I was a terrible strongman. But when I got into strongman, I fell in with a group of lads who would basically just max out on event training every session and injure myself. So when I got injured, I decided if I didn't do something in the gym, I would just end up being like 400 pounds of fat. So I decided to bodybuild. I lost a lot of weight. I did that whole transformation thing where I went from being a big fat lump to being, I think, right the way down to 13 or 14 stone, and then built back up. I enjoy some aspects of bodybuilding, but the dieting and the social side of it and the drugs, I don't enjoy.
Yeah, I can relate to you there, to be fair.
And then I kind of just dawdle about doing bits and bobs. I'm too busy now, and Reece gives me a lot of stick for this, but I'm too busy to consistently stick to a training program, consistently stick to a diet. You know, I might have 3 or 4 months even where it's quite good, and then I'll fall off the radar. But training for me now is just something that I enjoy, and if I can improve somewhere, that's great. It's not something that I'm ever going to be able to be competitive at because of what else I do. But I'm still very passionate about if I can help Reece or Badger or someone I work with achieve a PB or progress through supplementation, nutrition. I do a lot around people with their drug use. Then I get as much of a buzz off that as if I hit a PB myself.
Of course, and I think it's always good to have that. If you've stepped away from something, it's always good to be able to kind of live or coach vicariously through someone else. I've heard that a lot from people. Like, just to throw a name out there, Dave Palumbo.
Yeah.
Soon as he was for those who
Worst
don't know, he was
coach I ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know you'd been coached by him.
Yeah, $2,000 for a plan that is literally on his forum as his standard plan that he gives out to everyone.
I've heard this before, to be fair.
And a drug cycle with insulin, growth hormone, IGF-1, Clen, Anavar, Anadrol, Test, Tren, Equipoise, without having even spoken to me.
My God.
So that was not the best money I've ever spent.
$2,000.
$2,000. I got half of that back when I challenged him on the fact that this is literally, I could go on your forum and this is the generic plan that you give out on your forum. And his argument, which may be a valid argument, is that as he builds a working relationship with someone, that plan will be changed. And maybe that is a valid argument. You know, I certainly when I used to coach bodybuilders, most males or females would start on a variation of the same thing, and then that would evolve as we see how they respond. But I certainly don't think that it's sensible to put someone on that volume of drugs or insulin, certainly insulin, without having had a conversation around what their previous drug use has been, how comfortable they are with drugs, particularly things like insulin, where there is a degree of knowledge is required to use them safely.
Yeah.
Or less dangerously, let's not say
I mean, coaching should be personalised if you're paying for it at all past a certain price range, unless you are paying for a cookie cutter plan, so to speak. But at the same time, like, I don't know, I would feel a bit weird about prescribing any drug advice anyway.
It's something I've talked about on drugs and stuff with Scott McNally, and I've also talked about it on the Beef podcast. People who watch this, I don't know how prevalent it is in strongman and powerlifting. Certainly in bodybuilding, which you've been experienced with, you can sign up with a coach and you will get given a prescription of, and you can say, oh, it's not a prescription, it's a fucking prescription. You're giving people a list of prescription-only medication and dosages to take them at.
Yeah. At
some point, someone is going to end up becoming ill or dying, as happened 3 times last year, and someone will get sued or potentially prosecuted criminally.
When you say 3 times, like,
the 3 deaths that I know of last year, not locally, no, in the UK.
In the UK,
yeah.
Well, that's pretty local, isn't it? You know
It's
what I mean?
local, yeah.
For 3 people to die,
and it's normally bodybuilding related. The problem is there's a lot of stuff that gets put down to congenital heart issue or whatever, and it's very difficult to say specifically what the cause was. I know there was one really unfortunate incident where diuretics were involved. At some point, it's going to end up being. I imagine that when one person gets prosecuted for it, everyone else will go, "Oh fuck, maybe we shouldn't be putting this stuff in writing at the very least." And it's difficult because we do the Hench Project here. We operate a harm reduction program. We try and talk to people about how to use performance enhancing drugs safely. Christ, we sell cycle support products to try and reduce the harm, reduce the risks associated with performance enhancing drugs. So I'm not anti-drug at all. I mean, my business is based around that in some way. I think that we've got to be very careful about telling people to use a certain thing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It seems very iffy. You know what I mean? At some point, if someone's coming to you and they're going to use no matter what, and you know that there's,
a better way and a worse way of doing it.
Yeah, then you're gonna give your opinions at least. But yeah, it seems very, very irresponsible to prescribe to someone the stack that you mentioned there.
That was the most performance enhancing drugs I'd ever used at one go.
Fucking hell.
And I looked fucking great. That's I don't know what the moral of that story is there.
Well, it's just given me some insight anyway, because I didn't know what his coaching was like.
I'm sure if you're a pro or you're someone who's very good, that it's a very different experience, and I believe it's a similar experience with a lot of other high level coaches. If you're a very good athlete, you will get, and I suppose I'm not, so. But that's me anyway. So I pop
so
about
just give us an idea of what you mentioned 150 overhead. We've just been in the gym there. So you're still at this point where you're not someone I look at and go, fucking hell, he's massive. How much do you weigh? That wasn't meant to be an insult, by the way. I'm just saying.
I took it as one.
Oh.
I'm about 110 to 112 kilos, depending on how much pizza Reece has fed me.
So
and I blame me every time, man.
You're a big guy, but that's what I meant. You're not Reece's size.
It gets worse.
I'll just shut up. I saw you doing sets of 150 on the bench press for 5, and I personally think that's very impressive to say you've stepped away somewhat.
Yeah,
and you've still got that level of ability.
I mean, bench. I'm better at bench than everything else. If I get a decent run of training together, I should be able to fairly comfortably bench 200 still. I did 180 2 weeks ago. I think for a double, maybe.
What's been your best ever?
2. I've done 200 a couple of times. Once paused and once not so much. I've deadlifted 300 kilos once last year. And I've squatted 220 quite a few times, in fact for a few reps, and then I went for 240 earlier in the year, and just kind of dropped the bar off my back for no reason and fell asleep.
The video is there somewhere.
Yes.
That was about.
And I don't even understand why, because all the warm-ups and the 220 before felt like nothing. I even said to Reece, this is easy, I don't even need a spot, and then just fell asleep.
Just got halfway through the rep, let go of the bar and was like,
I passed out. I don't remember it. So my squat is terrible.
That makes two of us, to be fair. And then there's the outlier here, Reece, who makes up for our lack of squat games, right?
Maybe.
Had Reece done the 370 in sleeves when he spoke to you last?
I don't know. Had you done the 370 in sleeves when you last spoke to me?
I might have.
That's the most impressive lift I've seen you do.
Yeah, and it felt like 400 was there in sleeves that day.
Fucking hell.
But I train in sleeves, so that's kind of what I'm used to, what I'm comfortable with. But yeah, it felt good. There's not much more to say. Like that was a good, good couple of weeks training leading up to it. Everything felt fresh, knees were good. Back was nice.
Is your training going well now? I mean, we only spoke a few weeks ago, but
yeah, it's. I haven't, a couple of issues with tendonitis where you do have to listen to your body and back away here and there, but in general things are moving in the right direction, building strength in weak areas, which is the whole point of an off season like we spoke about before.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, come the next time to perform on a platform, there'll definitely be, good amount added to the numbers.
And have you started prepping for the Welsh yet?
No, I have not, but I only like to prep for 6 weeks. Because I lift too heavy for too long.
And
I run up to it. Like I haven't even put wraps on yet. I haven't even entered the competition, but I will do. I did the same last time. It was like a 6 week prep and kind of worked out.
And when is it?
Is it 5th of May, 7th of May? It's around about there. That weekend.
Right, so it's not too far away.
No, it's not.
Like now we're getting closer. Like, what do you think you will be able to hit? What do you think numbers wise?
I hate this question.
I know, but you must have an idea.
Yeah, I messaged my partner some numbers because I was like, this is going to be where it's going to be about. So squat, I'm looking 420, 430. I want to bench maybe 225, 227, so around 500 mark in pounds. And deadlift, well, it's going to be whatever's there. I think maybe about 370.
Nice, mate. So if you could do the maths for me.
It works out about 1,040.
That is mental. So that would obviously give you the UK all-time.
But this is
125, right? 125?
Yeah.
Do 125.
I have a feeling that's going to jump up very soon.
What, your weight class?
No, the total.
The number.
The total.
You think Sam?
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Of course he is.
He's looking good in training, isn't he?
He set a big squat at Rotherham the other day, didn't he?
Yep.
So we're going to Rotherham while you're on prep.
Okay.
So we could maybe just pip that off. What did he do?
385.
385. So if you could do like 390 in sleeves or something at Rotherham, I'd enjoy that.
Okay.
Just write your name on the headboard. This is my gym now.
That's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works.
All right. Front squat.
You can't front squat, you'll die.
Knee pop up. Yeah, but he will. He's going to go up and he's going to put a big total together.
Yeah, he definitely seems to be improving. I've noticed mostly on his bench. I can see some improvements. His lighter deadlifts, like for him, are moving pretty quick too. I've not seen him, unless he's done it without me seeing the videos yet, pull any heavy deadlifts as prep. I don't know if he's got to his heavier sessions of deadlifts because it's still like just less than 4 weeks away.
Yeah, exactly. There's still a bit of time left there.
So we'll see how he's looking on deadlift, but on bench and squat, as you saw, he's looking good, isn't he?
Yeah, it'll all come together on the day for him. Yeah. I really hope he pushes it further.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's something for myself to aim for. We both compete in the same in the weight class, and yep, it'd be nice to see.
You want to win. You want to win in a. You want to compete against the best. Always.
You want to beat someone at their best. If you deserve the title of being the strongest, you have to beat the best.
Absolutely.
And he has the biggest total. He is the best.
Yeah. And it just so happens that the standard is now becoming ridiculous in the UK. It's becoming.
And if you know you've got to work that bit harder, he knows the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. People push each other in the sport.
Yeah. If Reece, I don't know how long you followed powerlifting. How long would you say you followed powerlifting in the UK powerlifting?
In the UK, when I first looked at the total record for this weight class, it was about 3 years ago, and I think you had it.
Did I?
Yeah, it was about 9:15, 9:20ish. Am I right there?
I think I still have the joint total record, like raw.
That was bare knee, right?
Bare knee, yeah, 920.
920.
Yeah, it's me, Tony Cliff and I under 125. I know Tony's tested, so admittedly his is miles more impressive.
It's 120 class as well,
But
right?
yeah, he's 120. But under 125 across all the feds, he and I are there at 920.
Yep.
I don't think anyone's been above that in sleeves or bare knees since. But anyway, yeah. But I don't think I ever had the wrapped one, mate. I don't think I ever had
And
the
then
wrapped
you
one.
were talking earlier about how your knees are fucked.
Huh?
You were talking earlier about
Yeah,
how your
but
knees are
that, like, honestly, that's not from not wearing wraps. They would get just as
It
bad.
sounds like there's a life lesson there.
Wrap it
Someone
up.
who's outside the sport. I hold the record for naked knee squatting. How are your knees? Completely fucked.
It's weird. I still don't make the connection.
I don't see it.
I hope you convince me before it's too late.
Man, we got to start liking wraps, man.
Yeah, no, we'll all be on the same boat soon in this wrap stuff. It's getting too competitive to
Some triple ply
not do.
cheater sleeves.
We're going to start up our own federation just wearing sleeves, and we'll have silky smooth knees.
I'm going to start my own push-pull federation where squats just aren't fucking involved. I'll be happy enough with that, to be honest.
Can we do that with just the push bit?
But it has to be a 180 overhead.
No. Have to be deadlifts involved, or just the deadlift only federation.
Nope. What do you pull?
Me, best in comp 385.
There's many.
There's many.
There's many.
And there's a comp in fucking hell 11 days, 10 days, something like that now coming up. And you'll be there, won't you, with your girlfriend, right?
I
With
will.
Stella?
Food and
Yeah.
Strong.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're all going, aren't we?
yeah,
Ah,
we're all going to
that'd
be
be
there. We're gonna
cool.
be like, yeah, Alex. Yeah.
That'll be cool as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm
So
looking
you're going to pull
forward
4,
to
yeah?
that. Hey?
You're going to pull 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you pull 4, I'll give you a Strom hat.
Well, no, you know you have
Now
to
there's
pull
an
4.
incentive.
There you go.
Right.
I mean, you got a big head like me. That's going to fit you real nice.
Definitely pull 4. So, okay, seeing as we've been here today, we've been at Strom today. Before asking you about the actual line, I'm quite interested in like just entrepreneurship, or is it entrepreneurship?
Well, so I've always understood that being an entrepreneur involves running multiple businesses.
Really?
That was the way I always understood it to be. I don't think that's necessarily the case. So
Okay.
I've always been uncomfortable with the term entrepreneur because I just,
Okay, shall we say
in my
business
head I still just run a shop.
Okay.
And I'm aware that's kind of not the thing we're in. I had to go through this today with Georgia, who helped me out go through. I had to put a document together about kind of what I've done, and when you go through it all, it sounds much more impressive than it is. So we're in something like 18 countries. We've got over 100 wholesale customers in the UK, and I think we've got 16 products in the range. And we started in this instance 5 years ago, selling out of my shed, selling short-dated products on Facebook not Marketplace, but just Facebook, and delivering locally. That's how it started. I actually started the business 12 years ago in North Wales. We were just a normal supplement shop, and my ex-wife relieved me of that business. So Strom, in its current iteration, 5 and a bit years old. And the reason we started producing our own range of products was because I used to import a lot of products from America.
Okay.
Because consumers there was a market for what at the time were better products. The UK was still very much lagging behind. And Trading Standards confiscated a load of products from me. So I felt, well, you know what, there's a demand for American products, but the reason they're American products is because they're not compliant with EU regulation. So let's try and make a range of EU compliant products that are on a par with American products for quality and efficacy. And it appears other people wanted that too, which is what leaves us where we are now. We're very lucky, I feel, in terms of timing. When we launched the brand and where we kind of targeted it, we've been supported by the community massively, particularly bodybuilding. We were the first company to bring out an on-cycle support product and really talk about what it's for and make a product that was efficacious and backed by real data and real studies. And the work we do here with the Hench project, we have a blood work project here, allowed us to really back up how effective that product was. But at the time, I remember talking to my partner and saying, look, I'm going to bring out this product, and it's for people when they're on gear to manage their health markers. And I remember being told by her and my mum and my dad, don't do it, it'll be the end of your business. There's such a stigma attached to it. People will call you just a roid shop. And we don't do anything to do with selling gear or anything like that. It'd be ridiculous because of what we do. And how involved we are with harm reduction projects, but there's always that assumption that that's what you do.
Yeah. Was that like your first product though?
No, I had a couple of things before that. We had the original Stimumax, the original Vascumax, but that was the first product that really blew up.
Okay.
And we came out and said, look, this product is for people that are using gear to help improve blood work, to manage your health on cycle. It doesn't make it safe, but it reduces the risks. It's a harm reduction product. And if you go on the website now, I don't tell people what it will do. If you ask, I can explain the mechanisms. But I say, look, these are the ingredients, these are the doses, and these are the studies on those ingredients and what they can do. And that's a really good way of educating people. A lot of people will talk about, a study says this, a study says that. Studies can be manipulated so easily. Mm-hmm. The best example was the product that was popular on the market before was milk thistle. Yeah. There's one study on milk thistle, and it shows that if you get alcoholics and you give them milk thistle, their liver enzymes improve, which sounds great. You don't have to tell the consumer that the alcoholics stopped drinking. And for years, that was just the thing. I bet you've bought milk thistle.
I have. Yeah.
Reece has bought milk thistle. I bought milk thistle.
Didn't want to admit to that one, but yeah,
I bought milk thistle because I was told by the big guy at the gym that that's what you buy to make it all okay. But being the kind of person I am, I went away and looked into that one. Well, this doesn't really add up. It doesn't make any sense. So SupportMax came out and we announced it very much as, look, we know you all take gear. I'm not endorsing that, but I'm also not your mum. If you're going to do it, this will at least help improve things. And the first batch cost me all the money I had saved up, and we made almost no profit on it. Obviously, economies of scale, as it's got bigger, we do make a profit on it now. It's not massive. But the first batch went out, it trickled out, and then people started sending in pictures of their blood work, saying, look, this was out, and this was out, this was out, and now it's all bang on. And once that spread through social media, because social media is such a powerful tool, and particularly in Facebook groups, it just blew up. And it absolutely took over, and that's allowed us to expand into joint support and cognitive support, blood pressure management, all sorts of things. But that's really been through the strength of the community and people spreading the word for us. Because of the way branding advertising laws are, you really can't sit and spout how good these things are yourself, or you can't make any medical claims. Mm-hmm. But someone else can say, look, I use this product and it improved this problem for me. So we've just been really, really lucky in that we've had the support of the community, and I think we timed it right. There are multitudes of products on the market that do similar things now, the same as when we brought out SupportMax Neuro. It was really the only stress relief cortisol management product on the market. It was the only product on the market. We invented that category of product. So we were just lucky that we kind of got there first, I guess.
Okay.
And everyone else has followed suit. I saw a creatine announced today. You've used our creatine with Actogen.
I'm using it now, yeah.
I remember you saying that you'd not seen Actogen in a product.
No, and I went and looked it up, and it's got the data behind it.
So we did that middle of last year. Another product has just been announced today with creatine and Actogen together. So it seems to be a trend that we do a thing and then other people do a thing, which is great. You know,
I'm definitely gonna get onto this very topic. Loads of questions just pop up in my head that I want to ask, and I'm trying to remember them all. So we talked about SupportMax Cycle Support. Sorry,
yeah.
Is that the correct name?
It's just called SupportMax because
originally it's the original one.
Yeah, we've actually just trademarked the SupportMax. It's almost become like a brand within a brand.
Right.
But SupportMax was the original product.
Okay.
And do you know Dave Crossland?
Yes.
So Dave Crossland's a good friend of mine. When I had the formula, I went to Dave and said, look, this is a product I want to produce, but who the fuck am I? No one cares who I am. I'm confident it will work, but I need someone who's got a decent name to sign off on it. And Dave, he asked that he saw the certificates of analysis of the raws, so that the ingredients were of a certain standard. Mm-hmm. He suggested the inclusion of citrus bergamot, which helps with cholesterol management, right, and selenium, so he added those two things. And then he was happy to kind of sign off it and endorse it. If you don't know who Dave Crossland is, just look up Under Construction The Freak. It was a cool little project. He was one of the first people to talk openly about gear in a very public way.
Yeah, some of his YouTube videos are very good, very informative. So just tell us a little bit about what SupportMax is in terms of, we know what it is in general, just give a brief rundown of the ingredients and what they can do for you.
Yeah, so you've got to remember that SupportMax came out like 3 years ago now.
Okay.
So I haven't revisited the formula recently, but you've got the primary ingredients, the things that are going to be really effective in there. Is nacalcystine. Okay. So nacalcystine combines with methionine. What has he lost?
You don't have a tub of it, do you?
I don't have a tub of it. It's sold out.
Is that good?
There's a roll of labels over there.
Where are we looking?
Over by the computer of old. So you've got N-acetylcysteine, which combines with methionine, which is a non-essential amino acid. Sorry, an essential amino acid, and it produces glutathione. Are you aware of glutathione?
Yep.
Yeah, so glutathione is kind of your body's master antioxidant. It's responsible for removing waste from cells. Really, really important for liver health. N-acetylcysteine is the body's natural precursor to that. 250 milligrams of TUDCA. TUDCA improves bile flow from the pancreas, improves kidney, liver values again, and it can also help with the reflux that you get with certain orals or tren.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to ask you about as well.
So TUDCA's really, really effective. You will see some people, kind of gurus on forums, talk about, you need to have 500 or 750 milligrams a day of it. If you're using it standalone, that is the case. It's very synergistic with N-acetylcysteine, and from the studies that we've done, or the investigative research we've done, we find that 250 milligrams of TUDCA with 1,000 milligrams of N-acetylcysteine is very, very effective for kind of an average to heavy user. The reason that's important, TUDCA is very, very expensive, and this product needed to fulfill a few criteria. One of them was that it had to be affordable. Because if it's not affordable, at the time, you can spend 150 quid on supplement needs on cycle support products now, and they're incredible. They're really, really, really good. But at the time, there wasn't a market for this kind of product. So trying to get Dave, who spent 12 quid on milk thistle, to spend 40 quid on a cycle support was a big stretch at the time. So it had to be kind of the cost of a bottle of Tren, otherwise we knew people just wouldn't buy it. It had to do more than just be a liver support or a kidney support. It needed to cover a multitude of things. So N-acetylcysteine took a kind of liver, kidney. Citrus bergamot helps with cholesterol. Hawthorn berry, very mild diuretic, helps with that little bit of water retention that you get when you're on cycle. Selenium is something that most of us in the Western world are deficient in, because it's not in most of the grains that we eat. The eastern part of the world, they tend to get more of it in their diet. So it's something most people are lacking. 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3. It's just something that everyone should take daily. Although it's called a vitamin, it's more a hormone, and it's involved in hormonal balance. It helps with acne and general feel good. And then I'm going to refer to my so dandelion root extract, same as the hawthorn berry. Sorry, hawthorn berry helps with blood pressure. Dandelion root extract is a mild diuretic. CQ10 for heart health. Again, I'd like to have a little bit more CQ10 in there, but because of the cost and the affordability of the product. So if you've got a specific problem, like say heart defects running in your family, then
take a bit more.
Take a bit more, yeah. Or you could buy a very specialised product like the Dr. Dean CV stack. And then betaine, that's the thing I'd forgotten. Betaine HCl. Betaine helps with digestion, particularly of proteins. So makes sense again on cycle, digestive issues, that kind of thing. So that's an overview of the product. That's kind of how it works. And it's very hard to give figures. But as a general rule, people running what you would consider an average cycle, kind of a gram-ish cycle, it's very, very effective. There are countless. There was a point when this came out, and I am harking back to the golden era a little bit. When this came out, at one point, every single British IFBB pro was using it, with the exception of Nathan Diasha. But every single other British IFBB pro was buying it directly through our website. We didn't have a big wholesale network at the time. And that was amazing. Like James Hollingshead, Luke Sandow were talking about it on their podcast at one point. They were all using it. Jamie Johal was talking about how he was using a double dose because he was prepping for his pro card, which he won. There are lots of other options on the market now, so you can become very specialised. Like cycle support has become this whole kind of cottage industry, and you can go really, really in depth on specific things. But at the time, and still, if you're an average to advanced gym goer, you don't know what to take on cycle, and you just want one thing, you buy that, and you're covered for all of the basics to a decent level. It's still unrivaled. So
I wanted to ask you. I asked you before. We're talking about the TUDCA.
Yeah.
We're talking about the bile and the digestive issue.
The acid reflux.
Yeah, the acid reflux. So I relate my story, even though it doesn't sound great. So I used to really like D-bol. I used to use orals. They always used to shut my appetite off a bit, but I was cool with force feeding. But this one particular cycle, got some D-bol. It was obviously good D-bol. It wasn't in a capsule either. So I think the
thing to just cut in for a second on force feeding, if you're having to force feed, you've got to question why that is. And look at, well, I'm having to force feed and I can do that, but if my body's telling me digestively that it doesn't want food, maybe something's not optimal in there, which it obviously wasn't. Definitely not.
So started to get acid reflux with this D-bol. And I was like, all right, at first it's okay. So I did the typical things. Took the Gaviscon, took the Rennie, I actually went to the doctor. He thought I had H. pylori and prescribed me some, what is it? We used it. You use it with a baby.
Osmeprazole.
That's the one.
I like drugs.
And he prescribed me some of that, and I hadn't got around to taking that, but before I did, this one morning, the reflux was so bad, and you get these horrible tasting burps. I just
like
had
burping farts.
Yeah, it's really, really horrible. And I had to keep like leaning forward and burping. I had no appetite by this point, and then all of a sudden I feel sick. Ran to the toilet, puked, but there was blood in there. It was like fresh blood. I was like, shit, that's really bad. Rang my friend who knows about this. Well, you know, he's just a really good, like, half science, half just really wise person.
Yeah.
And we concluded that just stop taking the D-ball right now. Anyway, I was still feeling bad, obviously, because it hadn't cleared from my system and the effects hadn't. So I went and lay in bed because I felt like shit. After a few hours, felt sick again, got up, asked my girlfriend to ring me an ambulance, but either because she's so laid back or she genuinely didn't hear me. I believe it's the latter. She didn't do anything. However, I went to the toilet and I was sick again, and I just felt miles better. Anyway, and then I was able to continue with my life. But since then, I haven't touched Evo. I haven't touched any orals because I thought they fuck my digestion up so badly.
Yeah.
But I've had good results in terms of, you know, the water retention you get with D-ball. I've not been able to really replicate that with any injectables since, because
the mechanism of action, the way D-ball works and the speed at which it works out, there's nothing really comparable injectable. I mean, people talk about DECA and stuff, but it's a different kind of thing. You don't get that same fullness. So, as I discussed with you before, and this isn't gospel, and everyone will vary, and this isn't, you know, if you've had this problem, it's not always going to be the same thing. But generally speaking, when you're getting reflux on cycle and kind of really bad acid reflux and sulfuric burps and so on, the place at which it starts is the pancreas and bile flow from the pancreas specifically. The bile ducts close up. TUDCA opens them up, improves bile flow from the pancreas and can reduce the problem. Can't necessarily fix it. It depends on how much orals you're taking, how sensitive you are. And that improves the bile flow through your kidney, improves kidney filtration, liver function. Sorry, not kidney filtration, liver function. But because you've got a lack of bile flow, the acid in your stomach can become less acidic, but it feels like you've got heartburn. Mm-hmm. So you then take things like Reni or Gaviscon because you think you've got high stomach acid, but you don't. You have low stomach acid. You take the Gaviscon, you make the problem worse. The problem exacerbates itself, and you end up in that cycle where you're at, where the sulfuric burps, I mean, you can lie down and you can almost feel it coming up your throat. The flappy bit can get interfered with. So fundamentally, the cause is often low stomach acid, which has been set off by poor bile flow from the pancreas. TUDCA can help reduce that. Again, it's a conversation I was having yesterday with someone about if you know what the problem is, you can solve it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that having that problem is okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But generally speaking, TUDCA will reduce that problem to the point where it's not going to cause you an issue.
Okay.
I'd still recommend blood work, you know, to make sure liver, kidney function and so on is okay. But yeah, you'd be surprised at how effective it is.
Right. So, I mean, it's something that obviously it's not something that's going to take some kind of consideration, but in the future now, knowing about that and having a bit more of an understanding of what it might have been, might lead me to actually be able to approach orals again, which would be good.
And if you do and you die, it's not on me.
Yeah, you didn't tell me to, did you? So
no, absolutely not.
Categorically, you didn't tell me to. I'm basing my decision there off.
But yeah, it's an interesting one, and a lot of people have a similar problem, and the kind of Gaviscon Reni route is the route a lot of people go down.
And it doesn't work. Like, I can definitely say that taking the Gaviscon and Reni didn't relieve anything.
I mean, if it is acid heartburn and taking Reni doesn't resolve it pretty much immediately, then it's not acid heartburn. It's probably low stomach acid.
Okay, so you talked about you set this up 5 years ago, and you were selling supplements, short-dated supplements out you shared and whatnot. And have you always wanted to work for yourself? Were you working another job at the time?
Yeah, I worked for Sky TV. I used to sell Sky. I was one of those annoying people in a shopping centre that says, "Have you got Sky?" And I was very good at it, and I made quite a lot of money. I I don't play well with others. I've been self-employed most of my life.
Okay.
Reece will probably be the first person to say this. I can be difficult to work with. It's convenient because I'm the boss, so I'm allowed to be difficult to work with. But in a team environment, that doesn't necessarily go well because I just like things done a certain way. I can't necessarily always justify why that is. When you're the boss, you can get away with doing that. When you're part of a team, it doesn't fly quite so much. So I've not specifically gone, I want to work for myself and run a business. I don't like being answerable to other people if I can help it.
It's just the type of person you are, and it's just a path you're always going to go down, realistically.
Yeah.
Reece, can you validate any of these claims about being difficult to work with, etc.?
Most days it's good. When he gets stressed, he just needs to sit down and just let me do it for a bit, and then it's fine.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. I do a lot of other things apart from just Strom.
Yep.
And sometimes, so today we were training, and then I got a message to say that FIBO has been cancelled. By the time this has gone out, that will probably be public knowledge. We were exhibiting with FIBO with 2 other businesses, and logistically that's and it put me off my session, distracted me. I had to warm up all over again. But if something like that happens in the day, I can end up stressing about really minuscule things that don't matter. Like we need to clear all these back orders when actually, like, our collection is at 4 o'clock and we might have 5 orders and 4 hours to do them, but I'll insist we have to do them there and then.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really unnecessary.
Otherwise it would just play on your mind so badly.
For absolutely no reason whatsoever.
So let's talk about supplementation and powerlifters, strongmen.
So I think where this is really interesting is in Reece, actually, not like in him. But when I first met Reece, I think you used to use, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I do pay attention with supplements, it's kind of my thing.
Go on.
Creatine, glucosamine,
Yep.
vitamin C?
No?
Never
had
there was a
vitamin C.
vitamin you took. Creatine, glucosamine, cod liver oil or fish oil?
I had cod liver oil, yep.
And I'm sure there was a vitamin. Was there a vitamin you took? Or was it just a multivitamin? Or maybe that's just... But I know you took creatine, glucosamine and
I
fish
did,
oil.
yeah.
Could it have been vitamin T?
He's natty.
Yeah. Was.
And that was pretty much it. And it always occurred to me that it was odd that a powerlifter that was at such a high level, even though I know when I first met Reece he hadn't competed, but the lifts he was doing were better than most guys at a national level. That not necessarily his understanding of supplementation, but just his use of it was so minimal compared to like regional level bodybuilders. Really know their shit. Like they know the ins and outs of shit that they really don't need to be worrying about. And then speaking of more powerlifters, I mean, strongman are terrible. Strongman's my background. They don't give a fuck. It seems to be the norm. I don't know if that's fair.
Yep, that's not enough people know enough about it.
And again, I'm sure there are, like, I know Jim Bob at Supplement Needs is very, very up on things, but he works in a supplement shop. So I'm sure there are powerlifters out there who do know what they're talking about, but the vast majority that I've spoken to have a very minimal understanding of and a kind of almost well, if it's not steroids, it's a waste of time attitude. And also don't seem to worry too much about the health side of steroids. What was it you said earlier? It's almost like a badge of honor, like the more unhealthy you can be, the better.
This was something you said, right?
That was something I said.
Yeah,
Sorry, I thought you were asking.
Like,
No, you
like
said
see
that.
in powerlifting.
Right, yeah, it's kind of, sometimes people say, as a badge of honor, that, like...
I take this much of this and this much of this, I feel like shit.
There was a
Well,
guy
yeah,
I used to
yeah,
train with.
yeah.
There was a guy I used to train with at Strongman. I won't name him, and he used to dose his tren up and up and up to the point where his urine would be brown, and then go back a little bit from there, and that was how he worked out the dose that he could tolerate. He was big as fuck,
Yeah.
and now he's small as fuck and doesn't train at all because he got quite poorly. But for a little while, he was big and strong as fuck.
And for some reason, like, you'll know about, not directly obviously, but if you look back at the 80s, whether it was in the 80s, 90s bodybuilders, like Parabolan,
Yeah,
they used to come in 76
76, yeah.
76
Tren
milligram,
hexabenzocarbonate
yeah, 76 milligram vials.
per 1.5 mil.
You take 2.
Yeah,
Take 2 a week. That was the standard thing to do, wasn't it? So
well, that's what Dorian Yates did. So
yeah, and obviously he achieved all the fullness and leanness, etc., that you would need to from Tren. But now it's got to the point where guys are taking nearly a gram, and I'm just not sure.
I think
it
part
always
of that
baffles
is,
me. Like, where's it come from?
I think part of that is quality of gear. I mean, I know I don't tolerate tren particularly well. I don't tolerate it at all. I really struggle to believe that anybody can tolerate a gram of actual tren for a long period of time. There's someone that me and Reece know quite well who has claimed to have run, 800 mgs of tren a week before?
Gram and a half.
And he was given some by someone we know that I know is actually what it says it is. And he decided to run 600 mgs a week and said he'd be fine. And I said, honestly, you're going to struggle with that. And as far as I understand, his head's completely fallen off. Because you can't, I don't give a fuck what you say, you cannot run a gram and a half of tren and it not ruin your life. Particularly if have you used parabolin back in the day? 150 mgs a week of real parabolin is a lot. And these are two people talk about a gram of tren, and I don't believe it for a second. I think you're getting really, really, really bad gear, or they're not sustaining it for a very long period of time. But I think it's mostly just that they're not getting what they think they are. I honestly don't understand how anyone could run a gram of tren a week.
Yeah, looking back, I used it was the Alpha Pharma parabolin when Alpha Pharma first came out.
Yeah, so that was good.
So that was good. I presume it was good because it had literally only just come on the scene. I used 2 a week, and then I think I was meant to put it up to like 2 twice a week. I definitely
of the enanthate or the ACE.
No, of the trenhexylcarbonate.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it was, the 76 milligrams.
Yeah,
so
sorry, I thought you meant the original parabolin that was by the French laboratory.
No,
way back.
The one that Alpha Pharma made.
Okay, yeah.
And they tried to replicate it, didn't they?
Yeah. I've used that exact parabolin. It's very, very good.
Yeah, I definitely got trenny effects off it. But I feel like since I've used Trenace and I've got just as good effects, so I was probably just using good tren since.
Yeah, I mean, there's this idea that parabolin is somehow magical, and it's not. It's just tren hexabenzocarbonate. So Trenace is tren acetate, tren hexabenzocarbonate, and then tren enanthate. Any idea? People talk about prop will make you hold less water. Fuck off! No, it won't.
They're all the same.
They're all exactly the same. Ester. The difference is the ester. So the compound gets injected into you, it gets absorbed into your bloodstream while it's in the bloodstream. Bloodstream removes the ester, and then you're left with the compound. The compound is exactly the same regardless of the ester. If you drop from 3 ml a week of test enanthate, you're jabbing 750 milligrams a week minus the ester weight. You change to 3 ml of test prop a week, you've dropped from 750 milligrams to 300 milligrams. You're holding less water because you're taking less test. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the trens. Tren hexabenzocarbonate doesn't hold any inherent benefit over ACE or enanthate. People will talk about the fact that it's the only tren that was tested in humans, but there's no particular reason for that. It just happened to be a French company that produced a tren, and they tried it in humans and then decided that it wasn't safe anyway. Tren has never been approved for human use. There's really no reason to use it, but it's very good at its job.
Yeah. I'm really curious. This guy whose head fell off, who you both know.
Yeah.
When you say his head's fallen off, you mean he's still feeling the effects of taking 600 milligrams a week of tren now?
I do not know the details.
I don't.
Okay.
Just he's fallen off the radar completely. But wow. he has run a much higher dose of tren previously from a source unknown, and then he's run a much lower dose of something where we said
tried to do the same thing.
That's a lot. Oh no, it'd be fine. I've run more than that in the past. So I think a lot of it comes down to your sourcing.
Yeah. Well, Dave Crosland did a video, didn't he? He cited the study where they did a study on rats, and they gave them it's a 19 NOR, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, Tren and Deca, the two 19 NORs.
So I think they did it with Deca though, and they gave the rats, but it'd be equivalent to one of us doing 2 grams of Deca a week.
Yeah.
But it significantly increased their anxiety levels.
Yeah.
So it's proven to give you anxiety, basically, these 19 NORs.
Yeah. I mean, that chemical, anyone who's run Tren will know, I think anyone who's run Tren will know, that kind of underlying restlessness that you get.
Yes.
For me, within the first 3 or 4 days, I get an overwhelming, I need to be busy, and I get really productive, and then I become like an anxious wreck. But it's hard to describe unless you've ever experienced it.
You feel like there's something you've not done constantly, and you can't figure out why it is. You feel like there's something's not right.
Yeah,
that's literally how you feel. Something's not right, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
No, I don't use it anymore either. Let's go back onto supplements for powerlifters, strength athletes, even the ones who are not assisted.
So
let's see how can they. There are a multitude of ways in which you can benefit, obviously, depending on the product.
Absolutely. I think the thing you've got to look at is bang for buck. Kind of, what am I going to spend, and what benefit is it going to give me? And in terms of things that will give every single lifter, I mean, we're talking about strength sports, but whatever the fucking sport you do, creatine.
Yep.
I know it's boring. It's not exciting, but creatine will benefit every single lifter. Use a creatine monohydrate unless you have IBS. If you have IBS, maybe use creatine HCl. But use a good quality Pure creatine monohydrate. You shouldn't have any problems. The fact that it's Pure is important. Less heavy metal contamination. And then moving beyond that, there's really good data on omega-3, 6 and 9. Again, get a good quality one. That's one of the only supplements where I'll be like, honestly, it's not worth buying shit from Poundland. If you're going to use a fish oil, cheap fish oils, heavy metal contamination, the ratio of omega-3, 6 and 9 is worthless. A good quality fish oil will benefit, again, pretty much everyone. Vitamin D3, 5,000 IUs a day. They're all really basic, boring shit that I don't even sell. But they're things that will benefit everybody.
Yeah. From what I understand with the omega-3 supplements as well, the omega-3 particularly, it's a DHA and EPA content you're looking for. Yeah. It's not how much omega-3 is in it.
So I'm going to plug someone else's product, and it's Supplement Needs. They do a chewable. Reece really doesn't like them in terms of flavour. But my daughter, who's 2, will eat them. So... And children are awful with stuff like that, aren't they? But they're a chewable fish oil.
Yeah.
Tell you what, look, hold that.
Oh, we're going to give him one live.
Yeah, we'll give him one live.
So I'm improving my health.
You're getting so healthy.
And my knowledge, and everyone else's knowledge.
I'm gonna have one.
Oh, we're gonna it's gonna be like a party.
What flavour are these
what
again?
What parties are you going to?
what flavour of this?
Tutti frutti. Which one's me? So with this product, you've got crucially what you don't get from anyone else. You've got 1,440 milligrams of DHA, 420 milligrams of EPA, and 240 milligrams of DPA. And you will not see that in most products. It's Nordic fish oil. It contains vitamin D3, and they are chewable. They taste. I don't mind them.
They do taste quite fruity. They don't taste fishy at all.
No, they've got a little bit of a soapy aftertaste if you're really critical. But my daughter's 2, and she has 2 of these every day and asks for more.
It's just when it pops.
Yeah. Like a hemorrhoid. So that's Supplement Needs. You had Jim Bob Cooper on the other week. Not on the podcast, didn't you? No.
We had him on the cover of the magazine.
So Supplement Needs do those. We don't sell them yet. But that's a really good product. They are expensive. But you're absolutely right. It's the amount of DHA and EPA and the ratio between the two that's important. Everything else, and I realise we sell supplements, and I could give you a list of like, buy these 10 things, they'll all be fucking awesome. Every other supplement is kind of if you need it and specialist. So for that, I guess Reece is the one that's an actual successful powerlifter. What would you say the 3 things that will benefit most powerlifters
this guy
are?
as well.
What?
He's also a successful
I
powerlifter.
am,
He doesn't work in the supplement shop.
No, I want to. For me too, I want to know someone who's used this line for a decent amount of time,
right.
And had access to basically everything for a decent amount of time.
Reece has also got to use stuff as it's come out and try prototypes and things that maybe not made it to the public and so on.
Yeah. That joint support, man.
The original.
Yeah. I mean, the one that we have.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, massive benefit from that.
Yeah. So our joint support product is the first product on the market to contain 1,000 milligrams of hydrolyzed water-soluble curcumin. The original batches, I just want to talk about prototyping products, kind of tasted like curry.
Mango chutney curry.
Like mango chutney. It took a long time to get it right, but the product is very, very effective. There's kind of 2 actions. It's an anti-inflammatory. And then you've got cissus, hyaluronic acid, and glucosamine that will contribute to long-term joint health. We actually sell a lot of that now to elderly people for arthritis and so on as well.
Is it good for osteoarthritis? Osteoarthritis, not just rheumatoid, right? I'm only asking because of my dad.
I believe rheumatoid primarily.
Right, okay.
There are a couple of people who have said they haven't got a huge amount from it. One of them being Dr. Christopher Matthews, who I do some work with. His mother didn't get much benefit from it.
Okay. But with the osteo, you're still going to get the inflammation from all the lack of cartilage, basically, you've got, right? Yeah. So it's going to bring down inflammation, which is going to bring
it's
down
certainly
pain.
not going to hurt.
Okay.
And there's lots of other benefits to curcumin as well.
Doesn't it? Has it been shown to improve mood? A little bit
there's
in
some
depression.
weird stuff, but then so's black pepper, and I've never had a load of black pepper and gone, you know what, I feel so fucking good. So the thing you got to be careful of with studies, and I realise I refer to studies a lot, is sometimes that although they may show a benefit that is 100% definitely correct,
it's not
or a
attributable.
drawback, it might not actually transfer. So Novadex lowers IGF-1 to tamoxifen.
Right.
But not by enough that it would actually affect gains. But I remember back in the old days on the forums, there'd be bodybuilders who wouldn't take it because they'd be worried about Novadex affecting it. And it's true, it does affect IGF-1 levels, it reduces them, but not by any means comparable to the amount that taking testosterone will increase them.
Yeah.
So yeah, the joint support, very popular with powerlifters, strongmen, bodybuilders, that's kind of popular across the board. Yeah, it really comes down to what you need, you know. In an ideal world, Support Max joint,
Career Max,
as
we spoke about,
and probably Carbomax is more relevant to a powerlifter than an essential amino acid.
Yeah,
I agree.
So Carbomax is a high molecular weight carbohydrate. You've got two kind of approaches with carbohydrates for intra-workout. Cyclic dextrin, which you've probably used before, which is I've
used a bit of it before. It's so fucking expensive.
Carbomax is actually more expensive, to be fair.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it for free. So cyclic dextrin is effectively a sugar molecule modified in such a way so that it is a more complex carbohydrate once it's in your bloodstream, and so that it's got a high molecular weight, passes through the gut quickly. Carbomax is the same, a different solution to the same problem. So Carbomax is patented carbolin, which is a potato starch, effectively, that's been modified to be absorbed quickly. So it's a complex carb that gets absorbed as quickly as glucose.
Right.
What that gives you effectively is the sustained release of energy like you would get with a potato or an oat, but it gets into your system quickly. It's also very, very light on your stomach.
So the best of both worlds, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've tried this for, what have I tried it for? About 10 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks now, roughly. I love it, like, for intra-workout. Like, I reviewed this on the IG, so I'll cut it down if it's possible for me to cut anything down and speak quickly. So the reasons I like it is because it digests well, number one. Number two, tastes good. And the benefit for that in me, it tasting good makes me drink more water. Yeah. If I dilute it with a lot of water, it means that I'm just taking in more water. It's just a nice trick that I play on myself.
If you ever use it and you notice that it all settles to the bottom of your shaker, don't be alarmed. That's exactly what it's supposed to do.
Because that's what it'll do in your stomach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the most common, not complaint, but kind of question we get about it.
Yeah. The electrolytes too. They're added in there, which is so crucial for intra-workout. People think hydration is just drinking water, don't they?
Yeah, and it's not.
It's not.
Particularly because if you never sweat, then electrolyte replacement isn't going to be as much of an issue. But while you're training and you're sweating, it's more important because as you sweat, you're going to lose those essential minerals. Less of a problem if you train somewhere like this because it's fucking cold.
Man, give it a few months. You'll need them.
It's going to be uncomfortably hot. Yeah, our gym, you kind of have two options. It's either uncomfortably cold or really unnecessarily hot. And there's like a little bit in between winter and summer.
Like 2 days.
It's all right. Yeah, about 3 days, yeah.
I think one of my mates called those the fat man seasons.
Right.
As in autumn and spring, the fat man season is your favourite seasons.
You're ideal.
That's about right.
So Reece, if you could go through your daily diet and supplements that you use, just to kind of give people some context.
All right, so throughout the day, first thing in the morning, usually wake up and have Support Max joint capsules and Support Max, and the coffee, first thing, followed by, usually 2 or 3 rounds of toast and 6 whole eggs. Throughout the day, I kind of like to stick with either pasta and chicken or rice and beef, and we do get through a fair amount of Subway or KFC.
At the moment I'm pushing more for Subway because it's healthier.
And Meat Feast and a meatball.
Well, there's nothing technically unhealthy about it, is there, really?
No, it's just salad and meat.
And bread. Yeah. Like, that's how you get a 400 kilo squat.
Yeah, apparently.
Eat more bread.
And they do vegan meatballs at the moment, which Reece likes.
You a vegan, Reece?
Not by choice. It happened once, but I could tell. They told me, "Don't eat me. I'm not meat." Well, yeah. So throughout the day, usually a couple of rice and beef or chicken pasta meal, Subway, something like that. Before training, it will be usually a black edition Stimumax if we're squatting or deadlifting. I like Pro on bench days. It's not as intense, a bit more focus. I get a bit more focus out of it. And I have my Creamax with my pre-workout just because it's easy. Intra-workout, usually have a couple of scoops of Carbamax. I go raw with the Carbamax, and I'll have a EAA Essentials.
Mm-hmm. So you get the flavour from the EAA?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Post-training is a Velociway.
Okay.
And usually a neuro after training to wind down, which ends up being, before bed and have another large meal. Something similar to what usually went down in the day, but yeah, with whey as well.
Okay, so before we summarise that, how many calories would you say roughly you get in to maintain 130 kilos?
It's about 5,500 a day. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes it's a little less, but I can typically tell. When you're in tune with your body yourself, like what you're getting in. If you're kind of under in the day, then I'm a little heavier with the calories in the evening.
Yeah, because you can kind of, after a bit, you kind of eat the same food, so you can add stuff up, all the macros up in your head.
Exactly.
You pretty much, you're there or thereabouts at the end of the day. Saves putting it into MyFitnessPal every single day.
No, pretty much have the same breakfast every day and the same kind of bog standard meals throughout the day, and you just add in and chop and change in little bits. If I know I'm going to have a takeaway in the evening, then I might have half a scoop less of Carbamax, because
That's an absolute lie.
that's how it works.
Yeah, it balances it right out.
Exactly. I'm going to have 15 less grams of carbs during training, and a Chinese when I get home.
Yeah.
Chicken nuggets.
Because we know there's only 15
balls.
grams of carbs in a Chinese, right? And so if we I don't know what's made me laugh. If we summarise your actual supplement stack there, if I remember correctly, right, so you've got joint, Support Max joint, you then have Creamax, Carbamax, EAA, is it EAA Max?
Essential Max.
Essential Max, Velociway post-training.
Yep.
Then, I forgot Stimumax pre-training.
Stimumax and Creamax pre-training.
Then
EAA Carbamax during.
Velociway post-workout.
Yeah.
So that's, as a powerlifter, as an elite powerlifter, with access to all the supplements you could need.
I suppose if you want to be at that elite level, you need to take every advantage available to you, even if it's 0.5% here and 0.5% there.
And to be completely honest, the most important thing in my eyes is between the joint and the neuro, because that aids my sleep massively, and they just completely winds you down, especially if you've had a scoop and a half of Black Edition on a heavy session. You go home and you're absolutely wired.
For people who don't understand what neuro is, the product's designed as a cortisol management tool. So it's designed to manage cortisol levels. If you subscribe to the magazine, there's an article, a fully referenced article going in next edition.
Yep, in the upcoming edition, which is out first weekend of, put myself on, sorry, not first weekend, but it'll be, I believe, the second weekend, of April.
Yeah, so there's an article on what cortisol is, how it can affect your training and your recovery, and what you can do about it. The thing that's really important to understand about it is that although cortisol is your primary stress hormone, you cannot feel stressed and still elevate cortisol levels. Fluorescent lights, caffeine, things like that, they elevate cortisol levels, and cortisol as a hormone has a very negative effect on training and recovery. You might not necessarily feel stressed because of those things, but they still elevate this hormone cortisol, and that affects training negatively. So managing that, particularly when you get to that elite level, is really, really important. And I think with all sports, the further up the tree you go, the more important these marginal gains become.
Yeah. So basically, Reece is the person who's able to take advantage of all the marginal gains. So in theory, if you can do that, then that's what you would do.
100%.
That's a supplement stack you would take. So
I guess if you're on a budget, it's narrowing down what
bang
for buck.
When you say the essentials, the thing that matter the most to me would be the joint and the neuro. And Probably the Creamax.
Yeah, in terms of amount of strength added versus cost,
Yep.
Creamax at like 30p a day is a pretty solid shout.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the joint, I've just started taking the joint. I'm going to give it a little bit more time because, like, now my knees feel fairly good anyway because I've only squatted like 180 in the last week. But if I can feel that that's made a difference, that'll probably be the most significant difference to my training. Just having healthy knees, because progress will be you know what I mean? Progress will be crazy thereafter. So yeah, I believe you're right there in terms of if you can get a joint supplement that makes your joints feel better, then that's
works.
probably the biggest thing for a powerlifter.
The other thing with a joint supplement, I would say, and no one's going to ever listen to this, but take Support Max Joint, not even especially if you don't have any problems. Because these things, although they can help remove or relieve problems when they occur, will work best by stopping the problem from ever occurring in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, CISUS has got really good long-term data on joint and bone health. Glucosamine's got really good data on long-term joint health. Both of those things are better at preventing problems than they are at curing them. Hyaluronic acid will contribute to maintaining the synovial fluid in your joints. Now, if you've depleted your synovial fluid and your joints are grinding on each other, taking a supplement that will improve those levels of fluid will reduce further damage, but it would be better, wouldn't it, to just keep those levels high in the first place and prevent the damage ever happening. So I genuinely think that joint is actually best used by people who have no joint problems as a preventative right from the off. If you're serious about wanting to do well in powerlifting, because find me a powerlifter who hasn't got long-term joint issues.
I don't think I can find. I can find one outside of this sofa anyway. So, yeah, with you know what I mean. What? Sorry, not outside of it. I can't find one on this sofa because we've both experienced it.
Yep.
You know what I mean. So going back to synovial fluid, just helping people to understand what you were talking about there. From what I understand, synovial fluid is the fluid which is excreted as you start exercising to help lubricate the joints. Is that quite a simple way of explaining it?
There should be some of it sitting there all the time anyway. There should be a pool of it all the time, regardless. And hyaluronic acid directly contributes to that. Most supplements before Support Max Joint came out that had it in, Animal Flex used to have 10 milligrams of it in. Okay. We have 200. Which is actually where it needs to be effective. Now, there are a couple of other products on the market now that contain that level, but we did it, before anyone else did, and it is noticeable at that dose.
Okay. Something we've not really touched on, I don't think, the VelociWay. So Reece, you said that you take that post-training. Do you ever find that things like the VelociWay and the Carbomax, being that, at the very, very basic level, it's protein and carbs, they just help you get extra calories in during the day?
That as well, and it tastes fucking great. Like, it always helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Cinnamon bun is the one.
The carbs and the whey product are both very low calorie, because obviously they're designed to be flexible, but there's no reason you can't add peanut butter or whatever to them if you're wanting to up the calorie count. The Velocitol in VelociWay, if you just search for Velocitol and Massive Joe's is an American website, and they do a really good article that kind of breaks down how it works fundamentally. But it's an amylopeptide compound that's designed to increase muscle protein synthesis. So the idea is that you can get the same amount of muscle protein synthesis that you would get from, say, 40 grams of whey, while only consuming 20 grams of whey, and therefore only consuming 20 grams worth of whey in terms of calories and in terms of digestive strain. So it's pretty cool, it's pretty novel. We were the first company in Europe to do it, and it does seem to digest well as well.
Yeah, I found that. I think I've been using VelociWay for like 2 weeks now. Tried the cinnamon bun at the recommendation of Reece. Tried the rhubarb custard at the recommendation of Uric.
And which is better?
I've got to say, I'm leaning towards the rhubarb custard. So far, that's my favourite flavour. Now, the cinnamon bun tastes good.
Fight me.
But the rhubarb custard tastes really good. I've not tried mixing the rhubarb custard with anything.
Why would you do that?
Like peanut butter, for example.
Oh, okay.
I've not tried
to
mixing
make
with
it
anything
taste
yet,
nice.
so I don't know.
I actually think that the custard cream is the best, which is the most boringest flavour. But
right, I've not tried. I didn't know there was a custard cream.
There's a
I've not
custard
tried
cream.
To be fair, we sell more custard cream than we do
anything else
by a long shot.
Okay.
It's the OG. It is the OG.
So supplements, diet, GPC Pro.
Yeah, so let's go on to the next thing. Let's go on to the future. So as you already alluded to in this podcast, FIBO is cancelled. We've also
Have we alluded to that in this podcast?
Yes, we have.
Have we?
We didn't allude to it. You said it.
Did I?
Yeah.
Was that not before we started podcasting?
No. It's definitely on this podcast.
Oh, it was last. Sorry.
It was only 40 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it? It wasn't last week.
Not during
It wasn't
the
last
costume
week.
change.
Right.
As we alluded to, not last week, 40 minutes ago, FIBO is cancelled. During the time warp that we then experienced, we found out that the Arnold is cancelled as well.
Yeah.
It's funny how you can see into the future from a week ago.
So what I was going to say is that
FitX is the one to be at.
yeah, and exhibiting is a big part of your thing that you guys do, or it's a part of it at least, right?
Yeah, it's a funny one because your best case scenario with a big exhibition is just to not lose money,
Right.
which seems ridiculous, and it makes you question why you don't do it. But if you don't do these things, people turn around and go, oh, why weren't they there? Are they struggling? So Body Power last year, we did really, 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 really well and managed to not lose money. That was it. We didn't make any money. We just didn't lose money. But you generate a whole load of hype and you get people talking. You get to meet people face to face. So I really look forward to them. One of the biggest problems with expos is just the cost to exhibit is so high. I don't know if anyone who listens to this will have seen our stand at Body Power last year, but it wasn't big, and it was £7,000.
Wow.
Which is a lot. Obviously, Body Power is the big, well-established name in the industry. I completely get that, but it is expensive. So we're probably not doing Body Power this year just because of that expense. We were doing FIBO, but that's fallen through. So the big one for us to focus on is FitX. And the thing for you guys to be excited about is the GPC Pro Show, because that's shaping up to be the show of the year, really. I think.
Yeah,
You're the powerlifters, you tell me. But
yeah, see, the way I see it, they've been. It's kind of sad, really, that the Irish Pro is directly a month before, because a lot of the people doing the Irish Pro who were going to do the Irish Pro, I think, have probably gone over to GPC, because it just seems like the more obvious option for UK lifters.
Yep.
I'm guessing that a lot of the Irish lifters will still do the Irish Pro. Some of the UK lifters are still doing the Irish Pro too. But yeah, in terms of a UK Pro show, that in my mind, I've not seen it yet, I've not been to it yet, but it's the only option. If you want to be truly competitive, all the big names are doing it. And it's in an expo environment, which I think is probably the future for powerlifting shows.
I mean, the thing, from my perspective, I'm not a powerlifter. I've never been to a powerlifting event before, other than when they've been on at Body Power and stuff like that. And I'm really excited about it. Hicksy and Charlet are both competing, aren't they?
I think Hicksy will be.
I have heard kind of rumours floating around online. Well, I know they've at least got invites.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool. And then Mr. Fullwood and Mr. Boland's.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be exciting.
Yep.
A lot of Eastern European guys as well, from within the GPC
Yeah.
worldwide.
Flying quite a few over, aren't they? Seen quite a few travelling.
Some crazy, like 1,000 kilo total in guys. So, I mean, I don't know how many there are, but if there are a few, then it's going to be crazy. And if they're all on top form, it's going to be crazy. Like we said in the last time we talked, Reece, I'm here.
Yeah, 1,000 kilo total becoming almost the norm is mental.
Yeah, it is. I guess, like, coming from two guys who are chasing that as well.
Yep.
Reece, you're obviously closer to it than I am, but it is mental, isn't it?
Because
Because
it's me and Reece then for a second.
yeah. So you two guys, how do you feel like knowing that you're chasing that
Well,
number?
I hit a 210 kilo squat the other day with no wraps, so you could say it's going pretty well.
Yeah. So I mean, like, obviously with 400 kilo bench, 400 kilo deadlift,
Yeah,
like,
easy.
fucking smoke it.
I was thinking of just putting it all onto my bench.
I mean, that's how it works.
Just do 800 kilo bench and then just do like a token deadlift, like the bar or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
plus the collars.
Yeah.
Julius Maddox, who the hell's that?
But yeah, and just like you said, Rick, you're not a powerlifter, but the fact that it's there.
No, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely excited about it.
It's gonna be cool.
And I think part of it for me, and I think it's the same with strongman, it's the same with bodybuilding, the rivalries that build up in the build up to it, whether people admit their rivalries or not. You know, there used to be the one with Terry and Loz that was, it was always supposed to be kind of a bit fake. I never found out whether that was a real rivalry or not. This one between Eddie Hall and Thor, you kind of get excited to see what happens when these guys meet up face to face. So I'm looking forward to that side of it, definitely. It's a bit like with F1, you watch it for the crashes.
I don't watch it, but...
Well, if you did watch F1, you mostly watch it for the crashes.
Okay.
So no, I'm really, really excited for the pro show.
Do you remember the Eddie Hall burst one? I only got like little bits of that. That one was quite funny.
That wasn't a real one though, was it? That was a fun one. I don't know. They went off and made a telly thing together.
They're like best friends. Yeah.
I thought I don't know, I thought they'd said some really scathing things in there which kind of got out of hand. And
you know what? I remember seeing a few harsh, brash words being thrown around online, and stuff are posted now, obviously taking the piss out of each other. And
but
Robert Oberst hates the British.
Eddie particularly, he's smart. He knows people buy into that shit. You know.
Yeah. I think if Eddie can, if he stumbles upon something which can, kind of proliferate and make money, he will take it.
And that's the thing. He's done far better than any strongman before him in the UK. When I first came into strongman, I remember watching Lawrence Charley and Terry Hollands both pull 450 or 455, Britain's Strongest Man 2012, like strongman style. And they both took the joint, I think it was the world strongman record at the time. And that was at Britain's Strongest Man 2012. This was before Eddie was there to compete, and I think he came 6th or something, but he was the only person no one was interested in talking about because he was, he was Eddie. But the point was that was something that I saw, and I remember thinking that it was amazing. And there were probably 100 people there to spectate. Because
it hadn't grown yet.
Yeah, and it had been big in the past, hadn't it? And then it kind of shrunk down to nothing. Yeah. And I guess just... Come on, Sam. I guess at the time we didn't have the personalities in the sport, and it's personalities in the sport that will drive it forward, whether that's something. I don't know what powerlifting's like. I know in Olympic weightlifting they don't like it. It's all very prim and proper, but...
I think people find Sam quite interesting, don't they?
I've literally only just started following him on Instagram a couple of days ago.
I think people find Sam quite interesting. He's quite outspoken.
Do you mean Bolins or Parker?
Bolins.
Okay.
I mean, they find Parker quite interesting as well. Different reasons. But yeah, I think people like Reece, I'd say you're pretty quiet, but maybe people like to follow people's lifestyle, and you put quite a lot of your lifestyle on, which I think, mainly, guitar playing, things like that. I think people find that quite interesting. But in terms of being quite outspoken, both the Sams are quite outspoken, aren't they? But I'd say Sam Parker's taken a bit of a step back now from powerlifting. Sam Bolins is more current.
Yep.
I can't really think of anyone else. Fucking hell, why is my
use your words.
Why am I drawing a blank at this fucking name? Shane German.
Yeah.
He's pretty outspoken too. So it's nothing to the standard of Eddie Hall, though, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's not getting up there, but I think any level of personality or making it a bit more interesting, powerlifting benefit from it.
100%, definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. So the stand at Strom. Are you gonna
the stand at Strom?
Are you stand at Strom?
The Strom stand at
Strom stand at FitX.
So for those who don't know, FitX is what's the marketing term we're calling it? An interactive celebration of fitness.
Wow.
So I'm very passionate about pushing the strongman, powerlifting, bodybuilding, hardcore side of things. I feel like us guys, and by us guys I mean anybody who is on the more serious side of the sport, has been somewhat forgotten by the mainstream expos, because wellness and fitness has become so popular and so marketable. And actually, the hardcore, they're the guys that will be there week in, week out, all the way through the winter, all the way through the summer. There's no on-season, off-season with it. It's an all-year-round thing. So we wanted to make something that was more focused on those guys. The Strom stand will be in the centre of the layer, which is going to be us, supplement needs, insight supplements, all the kind of more focused brands. And then in the middle, we're going to have a small selection of equipment and a little mini stage, and we're going to have people doing talks and workshops all throughout all the Saturday and the Sunday. I believe Reece is hopefully going to be competing on the Saturday.
Sunday, right?
I don't know.
Is it the Sunday for
it's a Sunday
for the Fat Boys?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
So on the day
Fat
that Reece
compete on the Sunday, always.
On the day that Reece isn't competing, On the day that Reece isn't competing, we're going to have him doing a squat workshop. So we'll get someone, because obviously Reece won't be squatting because he's going to be competing. But we'll have Reece demonstrating some techniques, maybe helping some people improve their technique. Jimbo Cooper's going to do a bench workshop. We're going to have Rhiannon Lovelace doing a deadlift workshop for women, because she feels that women should deadlift in a slightly different manner. So just that kind of stuff going on.
So you're doing the squat workshop the day before you compete, right?
Yeah, but he's not allowed to do any actual squats.
It sounds like it.
Okay, I'll come along to that then.
Oh, right, okay.
You know, fucking help I can get.
If you out-squat me, then out-pull me.
Okay. So yeah, definitely come along to the GPC Pro. Come along to FitX in general. It's shaping up to, from what I hear from talking to Rick, from talking to Darren, the other bloke who's the main organizer of it, right?
Yeah.
It's shaping up to be very, very good, very exciting.
It is. It's in terms of level of pre-sale of tickets and people applying to be ambassadors and stuff, it's off the charts. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never paid for Body Power more than a week before. So the fact that we've got literally over 100 ticket sales in the first day is phenomenal.
How much is it?
It's not expensive. It's £29 for a single day pass. There's a few VIP left. The VIP gets you access to a private function on the Friday, the after party on the Saturday, all day Sunday, and early access to both days. And that's about £89 for the weekend.
Okay.
Comparable expos are like 50 or 60 quid a day for a standard.
Is that what Body Power has become now?
I'm not saying who that is, but something like that.
Okay, so something like Body Power would be
something like Body Power would be that,
50,
yeah.
60 quid. Wow. I don't know, because I've not been in years, and that's
£29
shot up,
a day.
hasn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
Christ. So guys, I think it's probably a good point
for Reece to go and get his dinner.
Yeah, for us to wrap this up. So anything either of you would like to say?
No, I've said lots of things.
Reece?
That was the quickest costume change we've ever done.
It was, and the way we did it without getting up or anything,
Just
marvellous.
next, yeah, Matrix.
I'd like to say subscribe to British Strength Magazine at BritishStrengthMagazine.com.
Do that. And also, if you subscribe to British Strength Magazine and you read my article, let me know if you think it's shit, because if people like it, I'll do one every month. Is it every month or every 2 months?
Every 2 months.
I'll do one every 2 months if people like it. If you don't, then screw you guys.
I read it and I liked it and I was enlightened by it.
Good.
Definitely.
So, yeah, let me know, because I'm quite happy to do them as long as they're beneficial.
Cool. And I'm grateful for them.
Brap.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Are we done?
Yeah. Can you press the stop button?
I can. www.stromsports.com.